ALF, 1986 to 1990, was a hilarious sitcom that brought laughter to millions with the antics of an adorable extraterrestrial living among humans. But behind the humor, the cast faced real-life tragedies that few fans ever knew about. In this video, we reveal the heartbreaking stories of how 28 members of the ALF cast tragically passed away. From sudden illnesses to horrific accidents, these untold stories will leave you shocked and deeply moved. Discover the hidden pain behind the beloved show that defined an era, stories that will captivate and surprise you. Don't miss it. Max Wright, born on August 2, 1943, in Detroit, Michigan, was a respected stage and television actor, best remembered for portraying Willie Tanner, the frazzled yet loving father on ALF. While his character was the glue holding the chaotic household together, Wright's real life was far from the lighthearted sitcom world he inhabited on screen. He had a long career in theater and television, with notable appearances in Buffalo Bill, Cheers, and Misfits of Science, but ALF brought him the most fame, something he reportedly resented, feeling the show overshadowed his more serious acting ambitions. Behind the scenes, Wright battled personal demons. He was married to Linda Ibarrando from 1965 until her death in 2017, and while they had 2 children, his later years were marked by loneliness and turmoil. In the early 2000s, shocking reports emerged of his struggles with drug addiction, including crack cocaine use, and he was even arrested on drug charges. His decline continued as he withdrew from public life. Diagnosed with lymphoma in the 1990s, he initially went into remission, but the disease later returned. By the time of his passing on June 26, 2019, at the age of 75, he was living a reclusive life in California, a stark contrast to the beloved TV dad he once portrayed. Earl Boen, born on August 8, 1941, in New York City, was a character actor whose unmistakable voice and imposing presence made him a standout in film and television. On ALF, he made a brief appearance as Warren in a single episode, but his legacy extended far beyond that. Best known for his role as Dr. Peter Silberman in the Terminator franchise, Boen built a career playing doctors, lawyers, and authority figures, often with a hint of arrogance or dry humor. Beyond live action, he became a prolific voice actor, lending his talents to numerous animated series and video games. Despite his success, his personal life was marked by sorrow. His first wife, Carol Keene, passed away in 2001, and though he remarried, he largely withdrew from the public eye in later years. In 2023, he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, which ultimately claimed his life on January 5, 2023, in Hawaii. His passing marked the end of an era for one of Hollywood's most recognizable, yet underappreciated, character actors. Benji Gregory, born Benjamin Gregory Hertzberg on May 26, 1978, in Los Angeles, California, captured audiences' hearts as Brian Tanner, the wide-eyed, kind-hearted youngest child on ALF. Unlike some child stars who smoothly transition into long Hollywood careers, Gregory struggled to maintain his place in the industry. After ALF, he had minor roles in shows like Fantastic Max, The A-Team, and Punky Brewster, but by the early 90s, he stepped away from acting altogether. Despite growing up in a family of show business professionals, he chose a different path, enlisting in the U.S. Navy. However, his time in the military came with its own struggles. He suffered from depression, bipolar disorder, and PTSD, conditions that made life difficult after his service. In a heartbreaking turn of events, Gregory was found deceased in his car in an Arizona parking lot on June 13, 2024. He had reportedly fallen asleep in his vehicle with his service dog, and due to extreme heat, both tragically succumbed to heat exhaustion. His untimely death at just 46 years old was a devastating end for the former child star, whose innocent portrayal of Brian Tanner had once charmed millions. Anne Ramsey, born on March 27, 1929, in Omaha, Nebraska, was a force of nature on screen. With her raspy voice and stern demeanor, she found her niche playing tough, often menacing older women. Her one-episode appearance as Ethel Buttonwood on ALF was a minor footnote in a career that peaked with her unforgettable role as Mama Fratelli in The Goonies and her Oscar-nominated performance in Throw Mama from the Train. Ramsey's life was filled with struggle. Behind her brash characters was a woman who endured years of health issues. Diagnosed with throat cancer in the 1980s, she underwent multiple surgeries, which left her speech permanently altered. Her marriage to actor Logan Ramsay was a rare source of stability in her tumultuous life, as he remained by her side through her decline. Tragically, the cancer returned aggressively, and on August 11, 1988, she passed away at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in California at the age of 59. Despite her hardships, she left behind a filmography filled with unforgettable performances that cemented her as one of Hollywood's great character actresses. Liz Sheridan, born on April 10, 1929, in Rye, New York, was a talented actress with a career spanning decades, yet she is best remembered for playing Raquel Ochmonek, the nosy yet oddly endearing neighbor on ALF. Her character was the stereotypical busybody, always suspicious of the Tanner family's activities but never quite uncovering their extraterrestrial secret. Before ALF, Sheridan had an extensive career on stage and television, appearing in classic sitcoms like Seinfeld, where she played Helen Seinfeld, Jerry's overprotective mother. But beyond the laughs, her personal life was filled with heartache and longing. In her youth, she had a passionate romance with a then-unknown James Dean, a relationship she later documented in her memoir Dizzy and Jimmy. Though she had a long-term marriage to jazz musician Dale Wales, she never quite let go of the ghost of her past love. As she aged, Sheridan lived a relatively private life, but time took its toll. She passed away peacefully in her sleep on April 15, 2022, at the age of 93, just 5 days after her birthday. Her death marked the end of an era for classic television fans, as she had been one of the few remaining connections to both ALF and the golden age of Hollywood romance. Kathleen Freeman, born on February 17, 1919, in Chicago, Illinois, was a character actress with an indelible presence in Hollywood. Known for playing stern, no-nonsense women with a comedic flair, Freeman made a memorable one-episode appearance on ALF as Betty Suzla. Her career spanned over 5 decades, with standout roles in Singin' in the Rain, 1952, The Blues Brothers, 1980, and numerous television sitcoms. Though she devoted her life to acting, her personal life remained relatively private, never marrying or having children. Friends described her as fiercely independent but often lonely in later years. In 2001, while performing on Broadway in The Full Monty, she was diagnosed with lung cancer. She continued acting as long as she could, but her condition worsened rapidly. She passed away on August 23, 2001, in New York City at the age of 82, leaving behind a legacy of comedic brilliance and an unshakable dedication to her craft. John LaMotta, born on January 8, 1939, in Brooklyn, New York, was best known for his role as Trevor Ochmonek, Raquel's gruff and oblivious husband on ALF. His character, a beer-loving, blue-collar type, often provided comic relief with his clueless attitude toward the strange occurrences in the Tanner household. Beyond ALF, LaMotta had a steady career in television and film, making appearances in shows like The A-Team, Hunter, and The Rockford Files. But he was also a man of contradictions. Despite being recognized for his role in ALF, he later publicly criticized the show, calling it garbage and expressing dissatisfaction with his time on the series. Off-screen, little is known about his personal relationships, as he kept much of his private life out of the spotlight. However, he lived long enough to see his contributions to television appreciated by fans. He passed away on January 29, 2014, at the age of 75, with few details publicly available regarding the cause of his death. His passing went largely unnoticed in Hollywood, a quiet end for a man who had once been part of one of the most unique sitcoms of the 1980s. Joseph Marr, born on December 29, 1933, in Westport, Ireland, was a distinguished character actor whose refined presence graced stage and screen. In ALF, he played Angel Bob in a single episode, but he was far more recognized for his extensive theater work and roles in films such as Sister Act, 1992, and Heaven Can Wait, 1978. Marr never married and was known to have a reserved, almost reclusive nature when it came to his personal affairs. Despite his genteel demeanor on stage, he endured a long battle with brain cancer, a cruel fate for a man whose wit and intelligence were his defining traits. His condition deteriorated, but he continued performing for as long as possible, finding solace in his craft even as illness overtook him. He passed away on July 17, 1998, in Los Angeles at the age of 64, a respected but somewhat unsung figure in the world of acting. Mihai Mishu Mazaros, born on September 20, 1939, in Budapest, Hungary, lived a life both extraordinary and deeply tragic. Standing at just 2 feet 9 inches tall due to dwarfism, he became a circus performer in his early years, earning worldwide recognition as a member of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Though most fans remember ALF as a puppet, Mazaros was the man inside the full-body costume for select scenes when the alien needed to walk or interact more dynamically. While the role brought him fleeting fame, it did little to secure his future in Hollywood. His later years were marked by hardship. He struggled financially, relying on odd public appearances and the generosity of friends to get by. His health also deteriorated significantly, and in June 2016, he was found unresponsive in his home. After slipping into a coma, he passed away on June 13, 2016, at the age of 76. His death, attributed to complications from a stroke, was a tragic end for a man who had spent his life entertaining millions but found himself largely forgotten in the end. Casey Kasem, born on April 27, 1932, in Detroit, Michigan, was an iconic voice actor and radio personality best known for hosting American Top 40 and voicing Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. In ALF, he made a single-episode appearance as himself in 1990, showcasing his unmistakable voice. Though he was widely beloved for his smooth delivery and warm on-air persona, his personal life was far more tumultuous. His later years were marked by a bitter family feud between his second wife, Jean, and his children from his first marriage. Diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which later developed into Lewy body dementia, Kasem's final years were fraught with legal battles over his care and whereabouts, culminating in a tragic end. He passed away on June 15, 2014, in Gig Harbor, Washington, at the age of 82, amid allegations of elder abuse and neglect, leaving behind a legacy tarnished by familial discord. And Mira, born on September 20, 1929, in Brooklyn, New York, was an acclaimed actress and comedian, known for her sharp wit and incredible range. On ALF, she played Dorothy Halligan, Kate Tanner's no-nonsense mother, whose sarcasm often clashed with ALF's antics. But ALF was just a small part of a legendary career. Mira rose to fame alongside her husband, Jerry Stiller, as part of the comedy duo Stiller and Mira, delighting audiences in the 1960s. Their partnership, both professional and personal, lasted over 60 years, yet Mira often struggled with feelings of being overshadowed, as her husband and later their son, Ben Stiller, achieved greater mainstream recognition. Behind her comedic brilliance lay deep struggles. She battled depression throughout her life and often felt undervalued in Hollywood. Despite these hardships, she worked steadily, appearing in Sex and the City, The King of Queens, and films like Night at the Museum. In her later years, her health declined, and on May 23, 2015, she passed away at the age of 85. Though her cause of death was not widely disclosed, it was known that she had suffered multiple health complications. Her loss was deeply felt in the entertainment world, as she was not only a comedy pioneer but also a woman whose personal struggles shaped her into a uniquely resilient artist. Alan Hale Jr., born on March 8, 1921, in Los Angeles, California, was the son of legendary character actor Alan Hale Sr. He became famous for his role as the lovable skipper Jonas Grummy on Gilligan's Island and reprised the character in ALF for a nostalgic guest appearance in 1987. Unlike the light-hearted camaraderie seen on screen, Hale endured professional struggles after Gilligan's Island, becoming typecast and unable to escape the shadow of his most famous role. Despite this, he maintained a cheerful public persona, opening a restaurant and embracing fan interactions. His later years were clouded by a battle with thymus cancer, a rare and aggressive disease. Hale fought bravely but succumbed on January 2, 1990, at the age of 68. In a poignant final gesture, his ashes were scattered in the Pacific Ocean, the vast waters forever linking him to the deserted island that defined his career. Bill Daly, born on August 30, 1927, in Des Moines, Iowa, was a comedic actor best known for his roles in classic television, including I Dream of Jeannie and The Bob Newhart Show. On ALF, he portrayed Larry, a psychiatrist who interacted with the alien in several episodes, bringing his signature light-hearted charm to the role. Daly had a knack for playing affable, slightly bumbling characters, but his personal life was far more complicated. He endured the pain of losing his father at a young age and faced multiple failed marriages. Despite his cheerful on-screen persona, he privately struggled with loneliness, particularly after the deaths of his close friends and co-stars. In his later years, he largely withdrew from Hollywood, choosing a quiet life in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Though he remained beloved by fans, he suffered from age-related health issues before passing away on September 4, 2018, at the age of 91. His death was not widely publicized, a quiet farewell for a man who had once brought so much laughter into people's lives. David Ogden Stiers, born on October 31, 1942, in Peoria, Illinois, was an actor of immense depth and versatility. Though he only appeared in 2 episodes of ALF as Flaky Pete, a quirky, eccentric character, Stiers' legacy was far greater. Best known as Major Charles Emerson Winchester III on MASH*, he brought a level of sophistication and nuance rarely seen in sitcoms. His career extended beyond television into voice acting, where he became beloved for lending his rich, commanding voice to Disney classics like Beauty and the Beast, as Cogsworth, and Lilo and Stitch, as Jumba. But despite his success, Stiers lived a deeply private life, concealing his sexuality for much of his career due to fears of industry discrimination. In his later years, he revealed that he was gay, but his romantic life remained largely unknown to the public. His final years were marred by declining health, and he was diagnosed with bladder cancer. On March 3, 2018, he succumbed to the disease at the age of 75. His passing marked the end of a career filled with elegance, wit, and an unmistakable voice that still echoes in the hearts of his fans. Cleavon Little, born on June 1, 1939, in Chickasha, Oklahoma, was a gifted actor best remembered for his groundbreaking role as Sheriff Bart in Blazing Saddles. On ALF, he had a small but memorable role as George Foley in 2 episodes, but his impact on Hollywood was far greater. A classically trained actor, he overcame racial barriers to carve out a space for black performers in both comedy and drama. Despite his success, his career never quite reached the heights it deserved, leaving him frustrated with Hollywood's limitations. Behind the scenes, Little struggled with health issues and personal turmoil. He was married briefly, but his romantic life was marked by instability and heartbreak. In his later years, he battled stomach cancer, a diagnosis that he kept private until his condition worsened. He passed away on October 22, 1992, at the age of 53, far too young for someone who had once been a shining force in entertainment. His death was a painful reminder of the talent lost too soon, leaving fans to wonder what more he could have achieved had he been given more time. Marcia Wallace, born on November 1, 1942, in Creston, Iowa, was a comedic powerhouse with an infectious laugh and impeccable timing. On ALF, she played Mrs. Lyman in 2 episodes, but her most famous role was as the sharp-witted secretary Carol Kester on The Bob Newhart Show. For later generations, she became the voice of the beloved but beleaguered Edna Crabapple on The Simpsons, a role that won her an Emmy. Behind the laughter, however, Wallace endured personal heartbreak. She lost her husband, Dennis Hawley, to pancreatic cancer in 1992, leaving her a widowed mother to their adopted son. She also faced her own battles with breast cancer, a struggle she openly discussed in hopes of inspiring others. Though she fought bravely, the disease ultimately took its toll. On October 25, 2013, just days before her 71st birthday, Wallace passed away due to complications from pneumonia and sepsis, compounded by her ongoing fight with cancer. Her death was a crushing blow to fans, colleagues, and those who had found solace in her warm and witty presence. Mickey Jones, born on June 10, 1941, in Houston, Texas, was a man of many talents. Before becoming a recognizable character actor, he was a drummer for legendary bands, touring with Bob Dylan and Kenny Rogers. On ALF, he played Artie in 3 episodes, bringing his signature rugged charm to the role. With his burly appearance and thick beard, he was often cast as bikers, tough guys, and blue-collar workers, appearing in shows like Home Improvement and Justified. Despite his success, his personal life had its struggles. His transition from music to acting was not always smooth, and the instability of Hollywood took a toll on his family life. Though married for decades, the pressures of his career often kept him away from home. In his later years, he battled serious health issues, including diabetes and complications from a long-standing illness. On February 7, 2018, he passed away at the age of 76 due to complications from diabetes. His death marked the end of an era for a man who had seamlessly moved between music and film, leaving behind a body of work that spanned decades. Eugene Gradick, born on November 14, 1925, in Trenton, New Jersey, had a career unlike any other. A natural lookalike of Pope John Paul II, he made a career out of impersonating the beloved pontiff, even playing the role twice on ALF. His resemblance was uncanny, leading to numerous film and TV appearances, including Hot Shots and Sister Act. Despite his comedic roles, his life was far from lighthearted. He maintained a largely private existence, with few details known about his romantic relationships or family. Though his career gave him a unique niche in Hollywood, it also limited him. He was typecast to the point where few casting directors saw him as anything other than the Pope. He continued working until his later years, but as his health declined, so did his appearances. On February 28, 2010, at the age of 84, he passed away in California. Though his name may not have been widely known, his face was unmistakable, forever linked to the image of one of the most influential religious figures in history. Sam Whipple, born on September 25, 1960, in Venice, California, was a gifted actor with a knack for delivering subtle yet memorable comedic performances. On ALF, he played Sam in 3 episodes, but his career extended far beyond the Tanner family's chaotic household. He became a recognizable face in Hollywood, known for his roles in Open All Night, 7 Days, and The Rock. Despite his talent, Whipple often found himself in supporting roles, never quite breaking into the Hollywood elite. His personal life remained largely out of the spotlight, but his battle with cancer became a defining struggle in his later years. He was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer that rapidly deteriorated his health. On June 3, 2002, at just 41 years old, he passed away in Los Angeles, leaving behind a career full of unfulfilled potential and a legacy of characters who added a spark to every scene they were in. Nedra Voles, born on June 18, 1908, in Montrose, Iowa, had a face that generations of TV viewers instantly recognized. She played Catwoman in 3 episodes of ALF, embodying the feisty and eccentric elderly woman archetype that had become her signature. Voles was a late bloomer in Hollywood, not achieving widespread recognition until her later years with roles in Diff'rent Strokes, The Dukes of Hazzard, and Designing Women. Behind her cheerful and warm demeanor on screen, her personal life was relatively quiet and scandal-free, rare in the entertainment industry. She was married to Lester Voles for decades until his death, and together they had children. Her health declined in the mid-1990s as she battled complications from Alzheimer's disease. On January 20, 2003, she passed away at the age of 94. Though she lived a long life, her passing marked the end of an era for those who grew up watching her bring humor and heart to every role she touched. Ed McMahon, born on March 6, 1923, in Detroit, Michigan, was a larger-than-life television personality, best known as Johnny Carson's sidekick on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. On ALF, he played himself in 2 episodes, adding his signature charm to the show. Throughout his career, McMahon was the epitome of showbiz success, with his booming voice and effortless charisma making him a household name. However, behind the laughter and the big checks he handed out on Star Search, McMahon struggled with financial ruin in his later years. Lavish spending, bad investments, and a series of lawsuits left him drowning in debt, forcing him to publicly admit his financial troubles. His personal life was equally turbulent. Married 3 times, his relationships were often overshadowed by his career. In his final years, McMahon suffered from multiple health issues, including bone cancer and pneumonia. He passed away on June 23, 2009, at the age of 86, marking the end of an era for television's golden years. Bob Denver, born on January 9, 1935, in New Rochelle, New York, was forever immortalized as Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, a role that brought him fame but also typecast him for life. His guest appearance as Gilligan on ALF in 1987 was a nod to his most iconic character, though he spent much of his later career trying to break free from the Gilligan persona. Despite his lighthearted on-screen presence, Denver's personal life was a storm of ups and downs. Married 4 times, his relationships were often rocky, and he faced multiple legal troubles, including drug-related charges. As he aged, health problems caught up with him: throat cancer, heart issues, and complications from surgery. On September 2, 2005, at the age of 70, he passed away in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. His death was a heartbreaking end for a man who had brought so much joy to audiences but had struggled to find peace in his own life. Paul Fusco, born in 1953, was not only the voice and puppeteer behind ALF but also the creative genius who brought the beloved alien character to life. His career began with a deep passion for puppetry, which led him to co-create ALF, a show that became a cultural phenomenon. Despite the show's success, Fusco found himself typecast and struggled to replicate ALF's popularity in later projects. His personal life remained largely private, though it is known that he devoted much of his time to his family. While ALF remained his greatest achievement, the character's legacy sometimes overshadowed his other aspirations, making it difficult for him to escape the shadow of his most famous creation. As of recent years, he has kept a low profile, occasionally making appearances to discuss ALF's enduring popularity. And Skadine, born in 1949, became widely recognized for her role as Kate Tanner, the ever-patient matriarch of the Tanner family. Though ALF was her most famous role, she had an extensive acting career, appearing in shows like Emergency, Paper Dolls, and Judging Amy. Despite her professional accomplishments, her Hollywood experience was not without struggle. She has spoken about the difficulties of working on ALF, citing tensions on set that made filming less enjoyable. In her personal life, Skadine was known to be private, keeping her romantic relationships and family affairs out of the public eye. After stepping away from acting, she shifted her focus to interior design, finding more fulfillment in a world far removed from the pressures of Hollywood. Now retired from entertainment, she leads a quiet life, occasionally reflecting on her years in television with mixed emotions. Andrea Elson, born in 1969, became a household name as Lynn Tanner, the teenage daughter of the Tanner family in ALF. With her charming screen presence and natural talent, she quickly became a fan favorite. However, behind the scenes, Elson struggled with the pressures of fame at a young age. She later revealed that she battled an eating disorder during her time on ALF, a struggle exacerbated by the industry's unrealistic beauty standards. Her post-ALF career was brief, consisting mostly of guest roles in shows like Mad About You and Step by Step, but she gradually stepped away from Hollywood. Unlike many child actors who faced tragic downfalls, Elson found stability in her personal life. She married television producer Scott Hopper, and together, they started a family. In a move that surprised many fans, she transitioned into a career as a yoga instructor, finding peace in a profession far removed from the chaos of Hollywood. While she occasionally acknowledges her past fame, Elson has embraced a quieter life, focusing on wellness and family rather than the spotlight. What do you think about the deaths of the actors from ALF, and who do you miss the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos.